Nicole Fransson is a Canadian basketball player who has played on three continents with seven teams, currently looking for the eighth team, or did you find the eighth team already?
In negotiations.
Okay,
So
that's cool. Okay, so she's a 6'2" forward slash center, graduate of Trinity Western University, and is a double-double machine who enjoys traveling the world. Hi, Nicole, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, I'm good, thank you. And you're currently in Germany. Why in Germany?
My last season was in Germany, and the club kind of helped me to extend my visa for a little bit so I could have a little bit of a European summer. I've been
Okay.
in Australia the last 3 years for their winters, so this is the first time I've seen true sun in 3 years.
Okay, because I would actually expect you to be in Australia because as you said, you've been there for 3 years. Can we say that Australia is like your home away from home? Or does the move to Germany just is a slight indication that maybe not so much?
I do really love playing in Australia. I would say it is kind of like a home to me. But I haven't gone back to the same team. I've gone to three different
Hmm.
conferences. But every single time I'm there, I'm like, it just feels, I don't know, very like Canada in a way. And I always make really good connections. So yeah. I
Yeah.
do miss going back this season, but I needed a little break after playing like in season for like 11
Hmm.
months of the year the past 3 years. Just a little bit of recovery and then work to hopefully be better in September.
Okay, because you used to play in their like Winter League NBL one, right? Not
Yeah.
the WNBL. That's like, yeah. Okay, 25 countries, four continents. How fast does your memory card run out of space when you go on trips?
I've definitely had to increase my iCloud usage. It was at like 200 megabytes and now it's at like 2 terabytes. So I
Okay.
do not run out anymore, but I definitely take way too many photos. And when I was in Australia, that definitely ex escalates with my teammate Taylor Simmons. She's also a photographer, so she took so many photos of me, and I think we went through quite a bit of memory.
Okay. And when picking a country to go on a trip, what is like your criteria? What are you looking
Uh,
for? Yeah.
Honestly, the criteria is just what is close enough for me to get to in like a weekend because don't have too much time off. So whenever I do, it's basically whatever country I'm in, and then I go through all the countries I have been in the area, and
Okay.
then I just pick whichever one's usually closest, and I haven't been yet.
Okay. So I can assume that being in Germany, you've been to Poland as well.
Yes, but I went
Okay.
there when I was living in Slovakia.
Okay. Okay. And what city? Krakow, I guess, since you were
Yeah.
in, yeah. Okay. Okay.
But I do want to go back. I was only there for about less than 48 hours, maybe
Hmm.
24 hours. We only had a day off, a day and a half. So I drove up, stayed one night, and then came
Hmm.
back and had practice in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's pretty close, right? I mean, it's like 6 hours, maybe, something like
yeah,
that. Something like
yeah,
that.
it wasn't too bad, but I was thinking I was having to get deported back to Canada at that time. So I wanted to get the full
Okay.
in before that happened.
Okay. Okay. May I ask you about the circumstances of that? Why would you be deported? Because of the visa,
Um,
obviously, nothing illegal,
Yeah,
right? But
nothing
yeah.
illegal, just
Yeah.
from visa requirements.
Oh, okay.
The team in Slovakia had never had a Canadian player before, or at least I don't think they did. So they were unaware of the visa requirements for me, and I needed a criminal record check, which I brought, but no one told me about a notary stamp. It's just like a little stamp on
Hmm.
the bottom corner that says it's legitimate. So I went there. They didn't accept my papers. Then the club was very good at trying to help me. I got my fingerprints taken in Slovakia. Then that didn't work. So then they flew me back to Canada for 2 weeks to get it. And as soon
Hmm.
as I arrived home and filled out the forms and sent it, Canada Post went on strike. So
Oh
there
man.
was just no way for me to get it.
Oh man.
So I got a little vacation at home, which was nice to see my family. And then I went back and played about two more games, two or three more games before Christmas. And then I reached my 90-day free period in Europe.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, because this is the thing that people usually don't talk about, and I guess that it's pretty boring. I mean, formalities are boring, but how hard it is to obtain a visa for a Canadian player. Is it hard, or it depends on the country which you are visiting?
It depends on the country. I'm very grateful for the Canadian passport that I can kind of travel most places without the visa, or within 10 minutes I can get one.
Hmm.
But with a long-term visa, um, Germany was super easy to get. So that's also one of the reasons why I ended up going there.
Hmm.
I signed the contract with Germany and moved to Germany within 72 hours of like
Okay.
first talking to the team. But you don't need like the criminal record check or anything. And the club there got me a visa within 24 hours.
Okay.
So it kind of just depends, but I am grateful that that is on the club to figure out, and I can just show up and focus on basketball most of the
Okay.
time.
Okay. So our journey starts, our international journey. It starts in 2023. People from Australia called your agent, right? Or contacted your agent, or did they contact you directly? Because it started in Australia, right? Australia was the first
Yes.
country. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? You graduate and
I actually didn't finish graduating before I moved to
okay,
Australia.
okay.
Um,
But now you're a graduate.
yes.
Okay, okay,
I was It started in like October, so very early into my
okay.
fifth year of university. I've been reached out by a couple agents in my fourth year, but I told them I wanted to wait so I could finish my degree first before moving on.
Hmm. And
Was
you
really important to me.
and what was your major, if I may ask? What did you graduate?
I got a bachelor's in human kinetics with a focus on
Okay.
kinesiology. So, Europe doesn't really have too much of something like
Hmm.
that, but it's basically like in between a strength and conditioning and like a physiotherapy.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay,
hmm
okay. Go on, sorry, because
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No, that's okay.
No,
And
no.
then in October, I actually saw on one of the agents that followed me before on a story, he was like, team in Australia looking for a post, this amount of money, you have a flights there. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't even know Australia had a league.
Hmm.
So I reached out to him, and within like a week or two, I was signed with Woodville Warriors in Adelaide.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and then I ended up moving in March. My season ended in February. Then I left in March, and then I graduated in April. But I was very lucky that my coach or my teachers had it set up to do
Hmm.
online due to COVID. So a bad reason that happened, but it was good for me to allow me to move to a different country before the semester was over.
Okay. And what sparked your interest in kinesiology?
I think with like just being obsessed with sports my whole life,
Okay.
just being and having quite a few injuries growing up, I think just like learning how the body moves and like how to treat it properly, and so to take care of myself and other teammates. But mhm.
Okay. And I want to ask you about the move from Australia and the differences between Australia and living in, because you lived in British Columbia, right? So
Yeah.
what was the difference? What were the main differences?
Honestly, I was really surprised with how similar they were. I think the major difference was driving on the other side of the road. That
Yeah.
definitely threw me through a loop the first couple months, but got a hang of it pretty quickly. but the like culture and like everyone, I think Australia was a really good first step for my pro career with everyone speaking English. And my coach was also Canadian. He had moved like 10 years prior, and I was very, I think, fortunate to have him because he understood like my playing style and kind of how Canadian basketball works and was really looking for a Canadian post to be on his team, which allowed me, I think, like that first step because I didn't go to that prominent of a university.
Hmm. Okay. And how did your basketball education begin? Let's take a step back before we take a leap forward.
My basketball education would have started with my mom. She used to play in high school, so she kind of introduced basketball to me. But as important as I played a lot of sports as well. So I played like 7 sports throughout like 1 year of high school. Like I
Wow.
was just on every team I could, which was really good. And then once we moved from British Columbia to Alberta, and that's where I went on a club team called Swish Canada, and I was with them for quite a few years, and they really helped like develop my game from a really scrawny, tall, lanky girl that didn't really know how to move to having a little bit more flow.
Yeah, I mean your footwork is especially impressive. Like you can just turn and switch so quickly on a player. That's like I think one of your good characteristics, I would say, for a post at least, right? Because you have to like
hmm
maneuver inside of the basket. Did you work on that specifically, or is it something that came naturally as part of the game?
Um, I think it was a lot just the coaches. I think like with long legs, like I could do big steps, but
Hmm.
it was very non-refined and I was falling all over the place. But I think when I got to university, my coach Cheryl, she was amazing at like footwork and just knowing the game. And we would work every day with like just different positions. It was a little tedious at times, but I owe her for like being able to like hammer that point into me
Hmm.
so that it's now just more second nature.
Okay. And where, because I initially thought that maybe you got the, because you said that you participated in a lot of different sports. Like it reminds me a bit about like volleyball players, how they move, how they are so quick on their feet, and they move so seamlessly. So is it something that, so what are the things that you picked up from other sports? Are there any things that you picked up from other sports that you implemented into your basketball play or? Not really.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think just also being like a little taller and lankier than the rest, like being able to play different sports helped me to like find my balance and I think like more athleticism. I remember when I was initially playing soccer and then I started
Hmm.
playing basketball. And I
What
remember when
position
I got
as soccer, if I may just get
um,
it?
it depended. My mom was a
Okay.
goalie, so I started in goal, but I really
Okay.
liked scoring, so I moved to forward. Um, and then actually basketball you can score a lot more, so I think that's why I switched. But when I started playing basketball and I went back onto the soccer field, they're like, wow, she's so much faster. And I think like also like being able to like footwork with the bat or with the soccer ball or football,
Hmm.
really helped just like to fine tune my footwork a bit. And yeah, volleyball as well. I love that. If I was better at it, maybe I would have played that as well, but only in high school.
Yeah. It's like the fact that you corrected yourself from soccer to football already tells me that you're becoming more and more European, right? Because of just the fact of staying here. Okay, so career-wise, Australia and then Germany, or no, then was Luxembourg.
Australia, then Luxembourg, yes.
Luxembourg, yeah, yeah. So, what was that switch like? Because, like Luxembourg, obviously, is very small, very compact. Everyone knows everyone. You're basically meeting your rivals, like I don't know, in a grocery store, probably on an everyday basis. That's the assumption that people have, at least. So, what was that move like for you?
It was definitely a little bit of a culture shock. Luxembourg is very small, but I actually lived in a tiny village up north, about an
Hmm.
hour from Luxembourg City. So it's probably closer, like it was 15 minutes to Belgium or to Germany.
Hmm.
But it was only a town of maybe 8,000. So very small. Definitely knew most of the people in the city, but it was a really good club. And I actually had another Canadian on the team that were roommates. So I think that really helped just to like comfortability and to like, yeah, just
Hmm.
get used to it.
Yeah, yeah. And communication wise, it probably wasn't that big of a problem because I mean Luxembourg is very how should I put it? Maybe it seems very cultured. I don't know if I'm phrasing it properly. Like they're more worldly than, for example, we in Eastern Europe, like in Poland, for example, and you've probably experienced that in Slovakia as well. The English that people use on an everyday basis, um, they sort of struggle with the language, right? There are some certain issues that prevent us from learning English properly. So then you move to Slovakia, and was the language right? Well, Australia and then Slovakia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So was
Yeah.
there
Australia, Luxembourg, Australia, Slovakia.
Luxembourg twice? Okay.
No,
No,
Luxembourg
no.
once.
Oh, okay, okay. Because okay.
Australia twice, three
Australia,
times.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And was there like was the language barrier ever an issue in Slovakia, or all your teammates spoke the language and you mostly talked about basketball?
Usually, no matter what, like basketball is quite international language that
Mm-hmm.
is spoken in English a lot of the times, which I'm grateful for because I'm not great at learning other languages. But the girls there were pretty good. Some of the younger ones, they weren't as confident speaking English, but I think they could. And the coach could speak English, but as soon as it got to basketball and like playing, he switched to Slovakian just for like ease of understanding with other girls. And then the
Mm-hmm.
captain would sit beside me and the other import and whisper in our ear what we need to know.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Because it's like in the heat of the moment, you usually revert to your native tongue, right?
Yeah.
And how did you, because since the language barrier was kind of an issue, how did you manage to play board and card games with your teammates? Because that's one of the
Um,
things that you do, right? As we
yeah.
spoke earlier.
That is didn't too much in Slovakia. It kind of
Okay.
depends on the composition of the team. In Slovakia, like most of the girls were from Kosice. So they all like after things went home and had their own lives, which was totally fair. It was mostly me and Deja. But I taught her some Canadian games called cribbage. It's one of my favorite games. And no one
Okay.
outside of Canada and some small areas of America know it.
Can you explain it? Explain the
It
rules,
is,
or does it take like it would take a whole video to explain it?
it might take a whole video. It's
Okay.
like a pegboard, and you're trying to like count your points and get to the end. But there's certain amount of like counting up
Mhm.
your cards to certain points. It's a lot of math.
So it's a card game and you're moving a pawn as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, interesting. And this is
But
your favorite? I'm sorry. No, please.
no, that's okay. Yeah, it's my favorite. Played it all the time growing up with my parents. So whenever they come to visit, we'll play, or we have an online version of it that I'll FaceTime them and play as well.
Okay.
But when I was in Germany, everyone except one of the girls was not from this region. So we didn't really have a lot of other family and friends to rely on. So we became very close and we'd have like weekly, honestly, two or three times a week sometimes, like game nights. So I had a lot of games and then a couple of my other teammates had a lot. So we'd all come together, usually like six or eight of us, and play games for like 4 hours at a time.
Okay. And apart from cribbage, what other games do you enjoy? Are there any games that you weren't aware of that you've learned in Europe and you sort of enjoy them and try to play them with your parents or with your friends in Canada, or not really?
Yeah, definitely. I have learned a lot of German games this past year. and I love them.
Okay.
There's ones like Ligretto, which is like fast-paced card game. There's like Quicks where you use like dice. There's Tippy Toppy, which has a funny name, and all the cards are written in German.
Hmm.
But it definitely helped me learn German at least a little bit because now I have to explain to the English speakers what all the cards mean.
Hmm.
But mhm.
Okay. And speaking of your parents, under one of your posts, you wrote that they use you as an excuse for traveling. So do you get the knack for traveling from them? And do they
I
visit you
think,
often?
yeah, they visit me all the time, at least once every season usually. They didn't end up coming to Slovakia, although they wanted to, but since my season was cut short, they ended up coming to visit me in Germany right after I moved for my birthday, which was really nice, which I think that's the post it was from.
Yeah, yeah.
But they visited me in Australia and then twice in Germany. And then this summer, we actually met up in Portugal, so that we could all have a new country to explore and they don't have to come back to Germany. They like it, but I think for it being so far away, it's better to try to do a little bit more exploring. But I think I did. We didn't get to travel too much internationally as a kid. We did go to Italy once, but I think like a lot of the time, like we're camping or going to different like cities, and I think that really like helped me. And then also them giving me the confidence that I can go do things on my own. Because a lot of the times I'm solo traveling, because it's hard to get other people to come with you.
Okay. And was it hard for you to move just mentally, like from leave the safety of your own home, that environment that you love, and move to a different country, since you haven't traveled a lot earlier, right? Because it sometimes works better.
hmm yeah, it was difficult, but I ended up moving also away for university. I moved like
Hmm.
12-hour drive away from my family. So that was kind of already a tough transition at 18, but I think it helped me be like, okay, I don't see my family as often as I want, but they're still here supporting me and came to so many of my home games. My parents, I think in my first year, bought a flight to every single home game. So they would always fly to come watch my games on the weekend and then go back to work, which I
Okay.
was grateful for. But I think just knowing to have like that support system from like my brother and my parents and like my friends. Like I know they'll always be there for me when I come home, but they wanted me to be able to have this experience.
Okay. Is your brother taller than you?
Yeah. He's
Okay.
6'3", so not too much taller.
Okay. Okay. And were you always like the tallest kid in class or one of the tallest kids in class, or did you have one of those growth spurts at a certain moment?
I think I had a growth spurt maybe around grade like 7 or
Hmm.
8. So a little bit later, I was like, I have photos of me and my friends like at the same height, and then like a couple years later, I'm like up here. So it definitely took a little bit to get used to the lankiness.
Hmm.
But, mhm.
Okay. And are there any drawbacks of being so tall?
I think growing up, it was not my favorite thing. I've always felt like kind of awkward and like taller than I was the tallest in my high school, really. I don't think there's really anyone else taller than me.
Hmm.
So felt a little awkward at times, but I think like basketball and other sports really helped me find like confidence and like a great
Hmm.
use for my height. And I don't think if I wasn't this tall, maybe I wouldn't get the same opportunities for pro basketball. So I'm very grateful for it now.
Okay. Okay. That's great. And the last question I have is sort of concerned with basketball because in the introduction, you have a Starbucks cup, right? Is it a Starbucks cup or not really? No, it is.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
Starbucks.
Yeah. 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 It is
I
Starbucks.
collect one from every country that I live in.
Okay.
Not everyone I
Okay.
go to, or else that'd be too many cups, but
Hmm.
I have one for every country I've lived in so far.
Okay, okay, okay. That's why I recognize it because I do the same thing. So it's like, yeah,
Oh,
I
nice.
know that one. Yeah. So
Mhm.
as a player who usually averages a double double in points and boards wherever you go, right? what's the secret to a good rebound? And let's maybe make it a two-parter. Like, what's the secret of a defensive rebound and what's the secret of an offensive rebound? Because it's like a totally different animal, right?
Yeah. Um, I don't really know how much like of a secret I really have to it. I can't be like, oh yeah, just one thing and then you're going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just learning the game and like knowing like either your teammates or like where they're shooting from, like kind of being able to predict almost like where the ball's going to go. So I think like also my university coach helped teach me that and we would go over it. And then like watching game film and just learning. And then I think on defense specifically, like just always being in a good position on defense will help you get a good rebound as well. So like just being behind them or on the side, you're able to box them out and push them away or also push them under, which
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the refs don't like, but it isn't a foul. It's just you're
Yeah, yeah.
strong. But and then I would just think like always like hustling and wanting to get it. I think so many times like players just don't try. And then I think they could get so much more. Like I have some guards I've played with and like they're one of the smallest girls on the court, but they hustle every time
Mm-hmm.
for the rebound and they get like as much as me. And I'm like, I'm right here. And they just come out of nowhere like, uh, but yeah, I think whenever my game isn't going well, I always just try to go back to rebounds because no matter if like my shot's not falling, like I can always just focus on rebounding. And usually also that means on offense that I get more points. Because if I can get clean up the boards and get an easy
Mm-hmm.
layup in, then helps me find my flow for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Nicole, for finding the time to talk. And is it as hot in Germany as it's here in Poland?
Yes, it is boiling.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your day in the shade and I don't know. And thank you again. So wish you all the best. Hope the negotiations go as planned and you soon will be on maybe country number 6, right? And contract number 8.
Yes,
Right?
I think
Australia,
so.
Germany, Luxembourg, Slovakia, Canada, and if we can add another one, 6 would be like a nice number. Although I don't know. Okay,
I
not
think it
not
should be a new country, but we'll
okay,
see.
okay.
Mhm.
Not want to jinx anything. So thank you so much for
Yeah,
finding the time
thank
and
you.
enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you.
Okay. Nice to meet you.